Hi everyone, I'm Pankhuri, this is Bindu. First of all, thank you so much for volunteering to manage the test center for the Asset Talent Search. It's a big responsibility, so we're really grateful to you, and we hope that you'll have a really amazing time with all the amazing kids that will come to your test center to take the test. So Bindu and I are here to run you through the process of managing the test center. We've broken this down into two parts. The first part is how to prepare for the test day. So what to do 2 to 3 days before the test, when you go to the school to visit the school, what do you need to ensure so that the test day goes really smoothly. And the other part will be what to do on the test day. There are a lot of moving parts to it, but we'll take you through step by step, and you'll see that it's not really complicated as long as you follow the steps. We'll also be sending you a checklist that will sort of act as a supporting document. Please do watch the complete video to understand what this process entails. So with me is Bindu, who's done this before actually. She's managed a really big test center. She's managed a test center at Bangalore, which has almost 500 to 800 kids. She's also managed the test center at Dubai. So Bindu, what exactly did you do when you went to the school? So the test usually happens on a Sunday. So
Yeah.
When did you visit the school, and what exactly did you do when you went to the school?
So, as a test center in charge, I visited the school on Friday, that is 2 days before the actual test day. I carried with me along the student list as well as the sticker sheets.
So this is the student list. It has the names of the students on it.
And this is the sticker sheets which you need to put up in the classroom on each bench so that students can sit according to it.
Okay, so these sheets are going to be sent to you via email. In some test centers, you will need to print your own sticker sheets because some test centers are really far away and we might not be able to send you the sticker sheets, but we'll explain the process to you. Some test centers, we will send a printed copy of the sticker sheet. Bindu, what do we do when we go to the school on Friday? What are the first couple of things that we need to do?
So we need to ideally check the classrooms, like the sitting arrangement, see the number of tables and benches provided by the school, see there is proper ventilation in the classroom, proper lighting and all that, because students need to be in comfortable frame of mind while giving the test. So that's very important thing. And also we need to check like whether the bathrooms and the washrooms are readily available and it's near to the classroom, so that students don't find it difficult on the test day to whenever they want to use it.
So basically, each test center will know how many students are taking the test at the test center. So let's take the example of this school where we are at Anand. They're very graciously given us the school as a venue, and we are also using it for making this video. So what happens now at Anand, there will be close to 500 students who will be taking the test, and they've given us certain amount of classrooms. So they've told us that each classroom can have about 20-25 students who can take the test. So when I come to this test center on Friday, I will go to each classroom that the school has assigned to me. So I would already know, or maybe I'll find out on the day that I visit the school that which are the classrooms that have been given to me. So I will come to this classroom. So I'll see this classroom, for example, this classroom has all these seats and it has lighting, it has proper ventilation, the benches are big enough. So what will happen is I will go to each class and I will visit and I will make sure that the benches are properly arranged and enough space is there for students to sit. So this bench, for example, to give you some sense of what we're looking for. So this bench is good enough to seat 2 students, right? So I will count the number of benches, I will count the number of chairs, and I will make a note of, for example, this is class 5A. I will write down that class 5A will be able to seat 30 students. So I will then, allocate 30 students to this class. So what will happen is we have the sticker sheet. So we will start pasting these sticker sheet on each bench. So, student number 1 will sit here, student number 2 will sit there. So, you can start from the first bench itself. This is just to give you an example of how you need to do it. So, similarly, you will have the sticker sheet. You will paste the 30 sticker sheets in this row. And then what you need to do is, so this is your notice board sheet. Okay, so this is also in a chronological order and it corresponds to the sticker sheet. So, for example, this is class-wise and in alphabetical order. So my first 30 students are sitting in class 5A. I will make a note of it. I will write down that student number 1 to student number 30 are in class 5A. I will write down 5A here in each cell. And this class is on the second floor. So I will write down second floor. This is my rough work, copy. So I will do this for each classroom. So you can take more people with you, especially if you are in a big test center. Take more people with you who will help you with stickering, who will help you with writing this down. So Bindu, what should we do after we've done this for every class?
So once we are done with this exercise, what we need to do is we need to make a fair copy of the same note, and this will be used as it will be put it up on the entrance of the school, so that students will know in which class they have to go and where they have to sit. So this need to be made very carefully, and no mistake should be there in this, because students that day students will get confused in which class they have to go.
Yeah. So for example, to give you so let's say Ashutosh Das, who is in class 5, is coming to Anand Niketan school. Ashutosh with his parents will come to the notice board in the morning. He will see his name. He will see his name, and he'll see that it says class 5A against his name, and his class is on the second floor. So it makes it very easy. He'll say bye to his parents at the notice board, and then he'll just simply walk up to his classroom. He will then come to the classroom and he'll see that, oh, his name is here. So he'll read his name, his sticker is put here, his name is there, his asset PAN number is here. He will take his seat here. So this process makes it very easy for everybody to know where they need to go, and it also makes it easy for invigilators to know who are the students in his or her classroom, where they should be sitting. So it just going in a chronological order, going in the order of the sheet, makes it very easy to make this process.
Plus this will be your attendance sheet afterwards, once you know how many students are allotted to a particular class, then you have to make an attendance sheet for that particular class with this sheet.
So the template would be slightly different. For example, the attendance sheet would have 3 columns against each student, and the 3 columns are simply because students need to sign. So for us to have an authentic record of who took the test, who was absent, it is important to take students' signature against their names on the attendance sheet. So we'll talk about the attendance sheet process a little later when we're talking about how to fill out the OMR sheet and how to go around signing process. So we'll talk about that.
So Pankuri, let's talk about how we can train the invigilators who will be coming on the test date to conduct the test. So can you talk something about it? How?
So invigilators play a really important role because they are the ones who are sort of managing the classroom. They're making sure students are sitting in the right place, that they've received the question paper on time and the OMR sheets on time. So it's a really important job, and they're constantly monitoring that students are not up to any mischief, and they are writing the papers properly. So it's really important to train them in advance. So on Friday when you visit the school, after your first the most important work is done of assigning classroom to students, filling up the notice board sheet and all. The second thing you should do, and an important thing to remember, is you should tell the school in advance that at the end of the day you want to sit with the teachers for about an hour, so so that you can train them. So following are the things that you need to train the instructors on. For example, how to fill an OMR sheet, which is really important because some students are really young, especially 5th graders. They filling an OMR sheet can sometimes seem like a complicated process, although it's a very simple process of darkening the oval. But it would help if you went around, if some child is facing some sort of a difficulty, to show them how to darken the oval. You need to train teachers on how to collect OMR sheets and question papers back. So which brings me to an important point. So how should you collect OMR sheets and how should you collect question papers? So it should happen in order because sometimes some kids finish test earlier than others, and then what they do is they'll run to the front of the classroom and they'll say, hey, ma'am, please take my OMR sheet, and in that it creates confusion because then you can't keep track of who has given the sheet or not. So the important thing to do is let the students who have even finished the paper keep sitting. You tell them that nobody is allowed to get up, and the teacher should go to each desk and collect OMR back from the students. So it should go to student number 1 first, student number 2, and go in order. And once the teachers have collected, the invigilators have collected the OMR sheet, then they should count it, keep it aside in an envelope that would be given to them. The second very important thing to do is collect question papers back. So the question papers, the students are not allowed to take it back. They have
That's a very important point.
Yeah. So in the past, we've allowed students to take the question papers, so some people might get confused. So please remember, test center in charge and invigilators, that students are not allowed to take question papers back with them. So please make sure you count every question paper once you've collected it back. So again, just follow the same process, go in chronological order, collect question papers back from the students. Now to make it easy, to not get confused about question papers, what we've done this year, Bindu, is we've color coded question papers for each class. So for example, this is a grade 8 question paper, which is yellow. If you see, this is yellow in color. Similarly, if you see class 7 paper, it's blue. So similarly, each class, so there are 5, 6, 7, 8 grades who will be taking the test. Each grade's paper is
different color.
And can you tell us why it's important and why this is an important?
Yeah, there's a reason behind why we have select a particular color for a particular class, because sometimes it may happen that 2 classes students will be sitting in same class 5 as well as class 6. So when teacher is the invigilator is collecting the question paper and the OMR sheet, giving the question paper or OMR sheet, there will be no mistake if she can identify the question paper with the color.
So of course the invigilators, please read the class that is mentioned. It's mentioned in a really huge font. So when you're giving, especially if you have a class which has a mixed group of students, say you have 7th graders and 8th graders in each class, so please read this class before you give it to each student. And you can also announce to the students that please check that you got the right class paper, because we don't want a 5th grader answering a 6th grade paper. That would be unfair, and that child's test will become invalid. So please make sure you read the class. Even if, let's say, you have only one class in your classroom, you only have 8th graders in your classroom, it's possible that you might have received an incorrect paper by mistake. In between 10 papers, 1 paper belongs to another grade. So please be vigilant about that. Please read what's written. Please make sure you tell students that you please answer your own question, own grade's question. So that's the reason we've color coded it, so that it's easy to spot, but nevertheless, don't just go by color, read the class as well. And the question paper has a lot of important information, like, the question paper will have paper code written on it, which the students will need when they are filling their OMR sheet. So each paper has paper code on it. It says how many questions are there, and it mentions the duration of the test. So each paper, English, Maths and Science, is of 70 minutes for all 4 classes. So grades 5 to 8, everybody gets 70 minutes to answer each question paper, English, Maths, Science, and that's also the order of the test. So the first paper is English, the second paper is Maths, and the third paper is Science. Obviously students will get breaks between each paper. So the first break will be after the English paper. It will be a shorter break because we have to be cognizant of time. So it will be a shorter break where students can have refreshments, they can go to the bathroom, they can drink water, just relax for a bit. And then after the Maths paper, it will be almost an hour-long break when everybody, including the invigilators, students, everybody can have lunch. So let's assume I'm the invigilator and Bindu is a student taking the test at the test center. So the students will be reporting at 10 o'clock. They will come see their name in the notice board. They'll find out which classroom they are sitting, and they will all come and sit in the classroom. So once the students are sitting in the classroom, first of all, they should sit where their name is there. So for example, on this desk it says Bindu, and her asset PAN number is written here, her class is written here. She should be sitting here. Okay. So 10 o'clock all the students will start coming in and everybody will settle down in the next 10-15 minutes. So once the students come in, 10 minutes before the test is supposed to start. So the first test starts at 10:30. So 10 minutes before the test is supposed to start, please give the students their OMR sheets. So the invigilators will get their own OMR sheets for each class, for each student and each subject. So you give the students the OMR sheet and ask them to fill it out. Now this is the critical part. I'll show you how a student is supposed to fill this out, and the information has to be correct. And when you go around checking the OMR sheets for every student, please make sure you check this information, because if anything is missing in the OMR sheet, it's possible that the machine that reads the OMR will not be able to read the sheet, and it would create a problem for the student who's taken the test. So every student will bring their hall ticket to the test center. This is a hall ticket that students have been asked to download from the EI-India website. They will all have a copy of this. It will very rarely happen that a student will not carry their hall ticket. If such a thing happens, please make a note of it. Let the student take the test, but please make a note of it and send that information to me so that we can verify that that student was actually, is a student who is supposed to come take the test. So we can't do much at that point. We can't send a student back, but we should make sure that the information is there. Now in the hall ticket, you will find that the student's name is there. In the OMR sheet, the first information that the students have to fill out is the name of their own school, the city that they belong to, and the date, today's date. The next thing that they have to fill out is their name, and it has to be done in a certain way. So they have to write down their first name first, then their middle name, and then the last name. And then they have to fill out the corresponding oval against their letter of their name. So it is really important that they do this properly, because if they don't blacken these ovals properly, the machine will not read their information. So invigilators, when you go and check the students' OMR sheets, please make sure that you check this information, that the student has written the same name as written in the hall ticket. The next thing that they have to fill out is their class. So again, check against the hall ticket. If it says class 5 here, in the hall ticket also it should say class 5, and so on. They can ignore the section and roll number part because that is not relevant. The next thing, which is very, very important, the paper code. The paper code is mentioned on the blackboard. You should write down the paper code on the blackboard also. So let's say you are handling class 5, then you should write down the corresponding class 5 paper code for English subject when the English subject is going on. Also in the question paper, the paper code is given very clearly. So let's say when the students are doing maths paper of class 6, their paper code is written here, and that paper code should be put in the OMR sheet. Every class, every subject has a separate paper code, and that paper code should be mentioned in the OMR sheet. They should write down the date of birth, and now the next most important thing is the asset PAN number. Asset PAN number is a unique ID of every student, and again asset PAN number is mentioned in the hall ticket also, so students should read their hall ticket and copy the same thing in the OMR sheet. Again, asset PAN number is extremely important, so I request all of you to please, when you are inspecting the OMR sheets, please check this information. So now what happens is that for every subject, the invigilator has to go to the student and the invigilator has to sign the OMR sheet. So for example, if I am a teacher, I'll take my pen, I will go to, let's say, Bindu's desk, I will look at the OMR sheet, I will look at her hall ticket, I will match everything. I'll say, okay, the name is correct, the PAN number is correct, the paper code is correct, the class is correct. Once I'm satisfied everything in the OMR is exactly as it is in the hall ticket of the child, I will, on the right hand corner of the sheet, I will sign my name. So this will validate the OMR sheet. We should sign the OMR sheet to validate that the student has actually taken this test and this is a valid OMR sheet. The other thing that an invigilator needs to sign is the hall ticket. This is a proof to the student that the student came to the test and took the test. So when I'm checking when I'm going around checking for English subject, I should sign against English. When I'm going for maths, I should sign against maths, and so on. And similarly, I will have an attendance sheet with me. So for every subject, the student has to sign. So for English, I will take the sign of the student. So the student will sign my attendance sheet, so that I can make sure that the student came to the test. It is important to take sign against each paper. So in the attendance sheet, there will be 3 columns. For English, for maths, for science. For every paper, you have to go and sign the OMR. For every paper, you have to go and sign the hall ticket. And for every paper, the student has to sign the attendance sheet. This ensures that all protocol has been followed. The student came to the test, the student took the test, we got the OMR sheet. This is a process of validation and it is really, really important. So now let's talk about answering the questions. Okay, so the timing has been clearly provided to all invigilators per subject. So for class 5 and 6, the students will get 60 minutes to answer each paper. For classes 7th and 8th, students will get 70 minutes to answer each paper. So as soon as the clock strikes, let's start with the first subject. So English is supposed to start at 10:30. So at 10:30, 2 minutes before the paper is supposed to start, please give away the question papers to the students as well. You would have already given the OMRs 10 minutes ago. 2 to 5 minutes before the paper, give them the question paper, but tell them not to do anything with it. You will tell them when to start. So as soon as the clock strikes 10:30, you ask the students to start answering the questions on the question paper. Students will answer the questions and they will mark the corresponding answers in their OMR sheet. So for example, the answer to question number 1 is B. They will circle the oval B and so on. Please tell the student this has to be clearly done. So they have to, darken the oval properly. Darken the oval properly, otherwise the machine will not read the answer and the answer will get marked as wrong. If a student asks you that they have incorrectly answered a question, what to do? Just ask them to rub out the wrong answer properly and then then correct the answer and circle the other oval.
Ma'am, where do I do the maths calculation?
So the maths calculation can be done in the question paper itself. In the maths question paper, space is provided for doing maths calculations and students can do the calculation in the question papers. Bindu, you want to talk about how teachers should, help in monitoring students at the test center, how they should be making sure the kids are safe?
Yeah, so during the break time, like whenever a child goes to the washroom or something like that, the teacher should ensure that the child is back to the classroom, and even during the lunch break, the safety of the students is very important, because like teacher invigilators will be inside the classroom taking care of the question papers and the OMA sheet, but someone should be there in the corridor to manage those students while they are having their lunch.
Okay, so even though it's a lunch break, invigilators, please be on your guard. Please have lunch with the students. So if the students are in the corridor, please you can have your lunch in the corridor. A better arrangement will be to ask all the students to eat in the classroom itself. But whatever works out for your test center, just make sure that these children are our responsibility, and they are in our care. So how you would look after children in regular school time, that's exactly the kind of process we have to follow. The same standard of supervision has to be followed for these children. So from the time that they come into our care at 10 a.m. to the time at 3:20 when they leave, they are in our care, and we have to make sure that their safety is taken care of. Okay, so that's it from us. Thank you so much once again. Just keep in mind that we are all here for you to help out with anything that any questions, any queries, any problems that you run into. So in case you have any issues before the test or during the test, please feel free to call Shrikant Patil, Brahma Sharma, Chandni Soni or Harit Nagar. All these 4 people along with the whole other bunch of people will be at HO, and they will be sort of centrally managing everything. They'll be coordinating with all test centers. They'll be helping parents. So what happens on test day that a lot of parents are unable to find the test center properly, so they call. So they'll be helping everybody. If you face any issue, let's say something goes wrong, a child goes missing, or somebody does a wrong, takes the wrong test. So don't wait for test to get over. Don't wait for somebody to call you and ask if everything went well. Just immediately pick up the phone and call any of these 4 people, or drop a message and they will call you back in case you can't connect. But seek out help there and then. We are all there for you. We are all there to help you out, and we're waiting for a phone call from you, and we'll immediately try to solve the problem. We can give you suggestions, but don't wait for the test to get over. Let's solve any issues that come up in real time. Of course, the OMR sheets and question papers both have to be sent back, so that we will send you a document on how to manage that. But from Bindu and I, and from the whole team of Asset Talent Search, thank you so much. I hope you have a great time, and please take a lot of pictures if you can, and share it with us and tell us how this whole experience went.